what's happening to me.
What happened to you happened to me. You hijacked that power.
So, there's a point in the movie we're talking about today where Tom Cruise loses the ability to reset the day. He can no longer go back and correct his mistakes. What he's doing now is for real. He can't take it back. He has to do it again. Even though he's so used to living this cycle of seeing the same evil in front of him every time, he knows that now is the one for all the marbles. There's no going back. And this is our last chance to defeat this great evil, or else we might be stuck with it forever. Anyway, the election's tomorrow.
Oh, God.
As of the night we're recording this. So, we'll see how that little bit ages. But I hope America does like Tom Cruise and Donald Trump loses. As Donald Trump is a time-looping alien, I think.
24 hours later.
Dude, check the news. It doesn't matter what channel.
America. Fuck.
Hi, welcome to Bomb Squad Matinee. If you're new here and you haven't clicked away, thank you for not being politically alienated immediately. I am your host and master of ceremony, Tanner Richard Kraft, and with me I have...
Truly are on the edge of tomorrow. Hi, I'm the guy who keeps changing this movie's name back on Wikipedia.
Hi, I'm Bill Cage.
Bill Cage. Good answer, good answer. No, sir, I'm from Kentucky. That's a different character, but still, I just wanted to get that out there. And today we're talking about Edge of Tomorrow, widely considered one of the best action films of the 2010s. One of Barry Jenkins, director of Moonlight's favorite movies of the 2010s and his personal top 10 for that decade. And really just an amazing action movie in general. But before we talk about Edge of Tomorrow, I'm going to hit you with a little warm-up question, which is, what is your favorite action movie of the 2010s? Parentheses, other than this one, if this is your answer. Unless you did make this your answer, because I didn't tell you guys you couldn't pick this one when I posed the question. So, Austin, we're going to start with you.
I mean, I think it's sort of implied at this point. How many times have we done this, you know? What's your favorite Robin Williams movie? Oh yeah, by the way, we're talking about Dead Poets Society. You know, we do this shit all the time. For me, it might be a tie, favorite action movie of the 2010s. It's probably a tie between Mission Impossible Fallout and The Raid 2, Retaliation. I'm sorry, guys, I couldn't pick. Fallout feels like it should win because it's the high watermark for the most critically acclaimed spy franchise of all time. Don't get me wrong, James Bond enjoyed some success in the 2010s when Skyfall came out, but Mission Impossible films have that extra juice, because you know Tom Cruise actually did those stunts, right? We get to watch it. Not to mention that Henry Cavill, an actor who is so magnetic that an entire Netflix franchise was sold off of his chin, is tagging along for the ride on this one. That is just a recipe for success. You've got Ethan Hunt squaring off with fucking Superman trying to stop a nuke. Meanwhile, there's the part of my brain that wants my action movies to be R-rated. The part of my brain that, like, remembers how fun Paul Verhoeven movies are. I like RoboCop. I like Total Recall. That part of my brain. And while the John Wick franchise and, like, Fury Road gave us a couple of really good R-rated action movies, the Indonesians had to come and show us how to really get crazy. The Raid 2 is operatic as fuck. It feels like there's some Godfather level shit going down. The fight scenes are just quick and violent on this level that, like, American stunt performers have a hard time matching, you know? If you've never tried hard drugs before and you kind of want to know what it feels like, watch The Raid 2 on a treadmill and you might just get close. If I really had to choose between the two, though, I don't know. I guess if someone held a gun to my head, I would say my favorite 2010s action movie is Nicholas Winding Refn's Drive. Back to you, Tanner.
Good answer, good answer. Except wrong, the correct answer was Only God Forgives. Moving on now to Mr. Sullivan. Favorite action movie of the 2010s?
So Austin did allude to this. I think there are two very low-hanging fruit here for me, which are John Wick Chapter 2 and Mad Max Fury Road. Not gonna pick either of those, but had to acknowledge them because they are fantastic action movies, but they're easy picks. When I went onto my letterbox and I looked at my highest rated action movies from the 2010s, the top two for me that came up were Logan and Mandy, which are both great movies, but the amount that I would call them action is questionable.
At least Logan has multiple action set pieces. Mandy is very questionable.
It definitely has action, but it's more of the gory variety. But yeah, my pick that I'm going with is what might be my favorite Wong Kar-wai movie, which is The Grandmaster. Wong Kar-wai's
Crazy pool.
Wong Kar-wai's take on the Ip Man that made Wilson Yip go, ah shit, I gotta make a movie real quick. It's a fantastic performance from Tony Leung. It's got incredible cinematography, incredible fight choreography. It's a fantastic time. I think this might be one of the movies that's trapped in the Weinstein vault, unfortunately. So you're probably not going to get a 4K anytime soon, but you can stream it on Tubi or Plex or any of those fucking free apps if you want ads. I watched this one for the first time in a film studies class on Wong Kar-wai, and so I got to see a rare Hong Kong cut of the movie, which was really cool. I guess it had some scenes that aren't in the US version, but then the US version has some scenes that aren't in that. So it's interesting. But yeah, Wong Kar-wai's The Grandmaster. Great flick. Back to you, Tanner.
Great answer. Crazy poll. I forgot about that movie.
Holy shit.
My favorite action movie of the 2010s is Steve Jobs.
There we go.
Bam! It's like an action movie with words, baby! Taking that back! Oh my god. Acknowledge the Apple II team!
Acknowledge that was a bit for Austin. I did that one for Austin. Love you, baby.
I love you so much.
I posed the question. This is an incredibly difficult question to answer. Lots of great picks have been mentioned. The Raid 2, Mission Impossible Fallout, John Wick Chapter 2, Mad Max Fury Road. So much so that it was sort of really difficult for me to narrow it down to just one option. Still haven't. Oops. I thought I'd come up with a good answer by now.
Womp womp.
Fuck. Womp womp. The answer's coming to me now. I got it. Hold on. I feel it.
Let him cook.
I feel it.
Let him cook.
Oh, it's almost there. X-Men Dark Phoenix.
Get fucked! Get the fuck out of here! How do we boot this server? How do we get this guy out of here?
In all seriousness, it's hard to say an answer because I think, gun to my head, my answer would in fact be Edge of Tomorrow.
Oh,
the movie we're talking about today. We all agree this movie fucking rules.
Good picture.
So let's just get a lot of killing.
A lot of killing.
Let's get right into it.
On your feet, maggot. 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 I'm trying to be nice to you, maggot. Now move.
Tim, what did you think of Edge of Tomorrow?
Yeah, like I was telling Austin before the call, this is one that I had not seen in a long time. I watched it shortly after it came out on home video, and I remembered liking it, and I'd been wanting to revisit it, but just hadn't been one that I'd watched since. But with this being an opportunity to revisit it, I was also curious about the source material, because this is based on a light novel and a manga called All You Need Is Kill. So I gave the manga a read, and it's a pretty solid manga. I really enjoyed it. I'll probably get more into like a lightning round of it in general discussion. But I read the manga for Old Boy when we did that one last year, and that was more of a straightforward adaptation from Park Chan-wook, but he elevated the material and made some more interesting artistic choices With this, it's more of a loose adaptation. Like, the only two characters who are really in both versions of the story are Bill Cage, who in the manga is called Keiji, and Rita. They're both very much younger in the source material. Like, they're in their early 20s, so them being, like, so fucking, like, hardened by all of the battles that they've seen in all of their loops, it's, like, extra, shocking to everybody else seeing them in battle, because they're so young, and so, in their minds, green, but they're just, like, fucking dominating. By the point that they're at the end of their loops. So it's interesting seeing the source material and then revisiting the movie. But yeah, movie's very fun. It's very... like there are a lot of, movies from the 2010s that are, of a similar caliber of sci-fi. Like, it very much reminded me of, like, Pacific Rim, and Austin, you mentioned Oblivion. That's another one that I need to watch at some point. It definitely has, like, that sort of flavor of, like, sci-fi action movie, and I think it's well done. A lot of fun, a lot of great, like, CGI stuff. Like, I will say, like, the designs for the mimics, they're a lot more busy in the movie, but I think it works. I think they're like really cool and, like, frightening. And yeah, good picture. I'll have more to say in general discussion, but suffice to say, movie pretty good. Pretty good. Back to you, Tanner.
Movie's great. Yeah, I want it. I've been wanting to read the manga. Mostly because of all the differences between the movie and it. I just never gotten around to it.
Like, I read the whole thing today. It's only like 400 something pages. It's a pretty short read.
It's not a big one. I just haven't ever gotten around to it. But Austin loves action movies. So let's hear him talk about Edge of Tomorrow.
Tim, can you confirm that, like, the mimics in the manga look more like Langoliers? If you've ever seen that old Stephen King TV movie, Langoliers, they're like little balls with big mouths.
Pretty much, yeah. They're more of a, like, abstract horror kind of thing. Yeah, just like the big balls with teeth, and they, like, fucking have, like, spears that they shoot at you.
I'm so happy we have that soundbite now. Thank you, Tim.
Got the balls.
So Edge of Tomorrow is the 7th film in a well-respected, often very lucrative line of motion pictures. That is, action films where Tom Cruise is on set in the dual role of both lead actor and a producer. This tradition dates back to Cruise learning the ropes from industry legend Paula I completely shut down Times Square Wagner back on Mission Impossible 1 back in 1996. This formula often guaranteed that you would kiss the $500,000 mark at the box office until Rock of Ages kind of like sucked the air out of the room. Then you have this string of movies like Jack Reacher, Oblivion, Edge of Tomorrow that fell sometimes hundreds of millions of dollars away from that previously established $500,000,000 mark, right? It also didn't help that Tom Cruise was kind of all over the tabloids back in 2012, his divorce from Katie Holmes, that business with his daughter, his ties to the Church of Scientology, and all of Tom's action movies that fell short of box office expectations. Edge of Tomorrow is the one that stings the most in retrospect. This film has a lot in common with, like, Paul Verhoeven's Starship Troopers. Another movie where, like, these action sci-fi visuals hold up super good all these years later, but couldn't turn box office success into a profit because its budget was so enormous in the first place. Like Starship Troopers, there is a lot of practical effects going on, and it looks incredible. The actors were actually fitted into these mechanized exosuits that weighed, I shit you not, between 80 and 125 pounds. Each suit consisted of 170 different cast components, and the rigging team had to fucking yank them around on wires that got removed in post to give them the speed to make it look real. Bill Paxton, the guy who plays Master Sergeant Farrell, Tanner referenced the I'm from Kentucky line.
No, sir, I'm from Kentucky.
He'd been on other big movies before. He was on True Lies, he was on Twister, he was on Titanic, and he said that Edge of Tomorrow had the most pyrotechnics of any set that he'd ever worked on. And, go watch the behind-the-scenes featurettes. It's fucking crazy on set. This movie's main battle set piece, which I think it's pretty safe to say it's inspired by the invasion of Normandy Beach. It's inspired by D-Day. And that whole set, that whole shooting on the beach in the backlot, that was managed by the second unit director, Simon Crane. Simon Crane, for anybody who doesn't know, was the stunt coordinator on Saving Private Ryan. They got the guy Spielberg used to do his D-Day scene. Another thing that makes Edge of Tomorrow such a blast is that it's a time loop movie that feels kind of inspired by video games. Back in 2014, there wasn't like a great deal of films that felt like they shared any mechanics with video games, save for like some cult favorites like you got your Scott Pilgrim, Run Lola Run, the 2 Crank films. While Groundhog Day took the time loop, this plot device that was pioneered by Claire Denis when she made her thesis short May 15th back at film school, Groundhog Day used the time loop to explore comedy and existentialism, much like the recent movie Palm Springs, which I hear is okay. Whereas Edge of Tomorrow abandons... Tanner, did I awaken something in you?
Palm Springs is fucking amazing. Palm Springs is one of the best movies of 2020s. It's brilliant. It's so good. Kristen Milioti's in it. Andy Samberg. They have incredible chemistry. It deserves to be amongst the rom-com canon. It is like, what if Groundhog Day had even more romance? Dare I say, I think I like it more than Groundhog Day, and I fucking love Groundhog Day. Please watch Palm Springs, please.
We found Tanner's new trigger word, Palm Springs.
This is the second recording we've done where I've gone off the rails because Palm Springs got brought up.
I love that just activated our boy right now. All right, this is now the Palm Springs podcast hosted by Tanner. So, Edge of Tomorrow, right? It takes the philosophical underpinnings of shit like Groundhog Day, and it replaces them with this seemingly impossible task of 2 soldiers defeating an entire alien invasion. This movie takes a premise that previously led to a final product that resembled the works of like Albert Camus and turns it into Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask on steroids. There's something inherently kind of golden about a movie where a soldier tries to speedrun D-Day over and over until he eventually figures out how to level hop straight to Berlin and blow Hitler up with a grenade. And as far as gimmicks go, Edge of Tomorrow really hits like the highest intersection on the expensive and interesting graph. This film absolutely blows my mind. Remember the beginning of Tropic Thunder? Where Danny McBride prematurely bombs the tree line on a film set and consequently, sets the movie back a month behind schedule. In Edge of Tomorrow, there are several stunts that would normally be the big payoff in, any other action movie. I am talking shit that costs tens of thousands of dollars to reset back to 1, and they just repeat these moments. This symphony of explosives, because to the main character, it's all just the same ludicrously expensive day. Doug Liman said on the Blu-ray that this film cost more than all of his previous movies' budgets rolled into one. Isn't that nuts? And also, it's wrong. I did the math. His previous movies cost $297 million all rolled into one. Mr. and Mrs. Smith alone had a budget of $110 million. Fucking crazy.
What the fuck?
Yeah, which is a significantly higher number than this movie's budget of $178 million. But hey, if he had made Joss Whedon's Justice League, that trivia fact would have been true. And the craziest part about all this, Edge of Tomorrow didn't even have a script. They went into shooting without a finished script. In my opinion, this is a pretty complicated movie to not have a script for.
We'll bet.
But hey, Edge of Tomorrow ended up in the Victory Dome with Iron Man and Casablanca instead of the shit house with Jurassic Park 3, Alien 3, and Men in Black 3. They went through 80 script revisions before shooting wrapped on this. And I guess that proves battle really is the great redeemer. The fiery crucible in which a true screenplay is forged. In closing, I love this movie so much. It features one of the strongest character arcs that Tom Cruise has ever had in an action blockbuster. The mix of practical effects and the CGI set extensions make this movie look fucking enormous. It uses the time loop plot device in the most expensive, entertaining way I've ever seen. This should have been hailed as a modern classic. This should have easily blown past 500 million, but the world was fucking brain dead in 2014. And so this got beaten by shit like Penguins in Madagascar and Lucy and fucking American Sniper. I tell you to go check this out on Netflix, but like every other good movie in their catalog, you missed your chance. November 6th, bye. But if there was a movie to shell out money to see on 4K, this is the fucking one. It's one of the greats. Back to you, Tanner.
Fuck you. Men in Black 3 is good.
I like the song at the end. I like the Pitbull song. I was a movie usher when that came out.
Time. Baby.
Oh yeah, I can hear it now.
This is now a Men in Black 3 podcast. Tim, what are your overall thoughts on Men in Black 3?
It's a movie.
Good answer. Good. Fucking Family Feud. Good answer. Good answer.
There we go.
All right, my time to shine. Hello. Woo! What to say about Edge of Tomorrow that you guys haven't touched on already? How about the fact that Emily Blunt is fucking incredible in this? It's no easy feat to hold your own against Tom Cruise. And boy, does she ever fucking do that. The cast in general is great. J Squad is a very likable cast of characters. Bill Paxton is so fucking funny in every scene he's in. Brendan Gleeson is weirdly intimidating in a pretty cool way. I dig that. God, it feels like you guys stole all my thunder here. You kind of brought up all the shit I could bring up. You stole all my days of thunder. Tom Cruise joke. You
gotta like silhouette, like you gotta
Days of
mime a
Thunder.
line of cocaine whenever
Days
that
of
movie's
Thunder.
brought up.
That one of the few movies that, from what I understand, in the accounting, legitimately had a budget for cocaine.
Yeah.
It was a legitimate like line item for coke. The 80s were wild.
They didn't call him Jerry Fuckheimer for nothing.
Yep. Crazy. Yeah. Edge of Tomorrow. Live, Die, Repeat. All you need is kill. Whatever the fuck you call it. It's great. Doug Liman and Tom Cruise are clearly a match made in heaven in terms of their output, as I believe, if memory serves me correctly, Doug Liman also directed
Swingers!
Really?
Yeah!
Oh, I didn't know that. I was thinking of American Made, the other movie he made with Tom Cruise. That is also very good. One of the few movies that Tom Cruise has made that is kind of like strictly for adults this decade. Instead of these all ages action affairs that he's been kind of doing, which is great. I love Tom Cruise action. American Made, also very good.
He also did Roadhouse.
He also did.
My favorite family-friendly Tom Cruise action movie is Eyes Wide Shut.
That's true.
Fuck yeah.
Okay, sorry. Brief aside, because I don't know when the fuck we're ever going to talk about Eyes Wide Shut. My favorite thing is the conspiracy theory that the Illuminati killed Stanley Kubrick because of the secrets that Eyes Wide Shut was going to reveal. So the Illuminati kills Stanley Kubrick for it. But, I mean, he put a lot of work into it. Might as well still let the movie come out. Never got that conspiracy theory.
Well, the whole thing is, I recently heard about the letter theory. Have you heard of this?
Is this okay?
There's a point where Tom Cruise goes back after the sex party and they hand him a letter that says, like, please fucking stop, just go back, go away. And somebody had a theory, they're like, because Warner Brothers was like, wouldn't have only had time to change one shot. They had a theory that the letter was changed. There's this whole, like, plot where they believe that Nicole Kidman and Tom Cruise at the end give up their daughter to the rich, freaky sex cult people as punishment for Tom Cruise's kind of prodding the issue. Every group that believes he was killed for Eyes Wide Shut believes there's hidden messages about kids in there. That's basically like every crazy person's theory about Eyes Wide Shut is like, how do we contort this movie so that there's kids involved? Trying to tie it into like the Epstein thing.
Man, it's kind of a shame that a solid 20% of the population is like legitimately schizophrenic, huh?
Yeah,
Like-
right? The internet was a mistake!
Yeah, what the fuck? Jesus Christ. Back to Edge of Tomorrow,
There we
a
go.
movie that doesn't have any child sex cabal theories behind it. The special effects is spectacular. I like the design of the alien monsters. It's kind of like this weird, like, sort of like, whoa, creepy sci-fi thing that I really dig. Apparently Guillermo del Toro was at some point involved with the design of it, but I also heard apparently his designs looked nothing like what the movie has, so I don't know. It just shows that Guillermo del Toro,
He was
given
involved
enough
with
effort-
every movie at some point.
basically,
Yeah.
within enough effort, you can find proof he was involved in every movie. Tom Cruise, also great in this. He shows a real vulnerability that he doesn't usually get to show in these action movies. And Doug Liman put it best. The reason why he was attracted to this movie with Tom Cruise in it was simple. It shows something that a Tom Cruise movie has never done before. At least at first, a character who sucks at what he's doing.
He's a
Yeah.
coward. A legitimate coward.
He's he's a little pussy boy. Little pussy boy.
Again, worth noting that in the source material, like, he's like in his early 20s. He's just some new recruit kid, and they just had to make him into like, because Tom Cruise can't convincingly play 22. I'm sorry, but he can play some guy who got roped in, and it's just like, hey, buddy, you gotta do your duty now, or we're gonna court-martial you.
I always wonder what Brendan Gleeson's like grander plan was. If like Tom Cruise's character died and they didn't have any footage. Like, the American government would be fucking pissed if that happened, right? Like, if you're the American government, you're like, what the fuck do you mean that we said, oh, you can use him as like a journalist on the field, and then you didn't give him a camera and he fucking died? What the fuck?
Oh yeah.
We might be being invaded by the aliens, but actually, nuke's on you. Nuke's on you.
Well, you know, I like, you know that, like, villain who twirls his mustache and flies away in a hot air balloon, that cartoon guy? That's his CO. He's trying to call his CO back in Washington, but he's actually already up in the hot air balloon dropping puppies. Like, who the fuck in their right mind is like, yeah, this guy has extensive media training, people all over the country know him, let's send him out to get fucking murked on a beach in a camera crew. Totally. That's
Insane. It's fucking insane. You know what? We're just gonna get into general discussion here because I'm running out of steam. So we'll get into that after a brief commercial break.
What are you doing?
Find me when you wake up. What? Come find me when you wake up.
Welcome back from that ad break for another ad. See that thing pointing at it? That right there's a movie palette. Yes, sir. It basically takes the prominent color of each frame of the movie, slices it up into these little things, and puts it in a nice little art piece for you to enjoy. That one's for Punch Drunk Love. Above Tim, you see the one for Mandy. You can order one for the movie Edge of Tomorrow, Live, Die, Repeat, whatever the fuck it's called. Or any another one of the movies if you go to moviepalette.com. Before you check out, before you make that order, enter the code SQUAD15 to save 15% on your order. So you go ahead, SQUAD15. Save 15%. Now, back to the show. All right, let's get into it. Let's ask the question of our minds. If you had this power, what would you do?
I just thought, what would be the best day of my life to relive over and over again? And I can't even say it on camera. God damn it. Christmas as a kid would be pretty dope. Just Christmas over and over again.
I'll reveal the truth.
I could practice the face like on I opened some socks from my mom and I should have smiled, dude. I fucking regret that.
Austin's real answer is he wants to lose his virginity again. He just won't admit it.
No, that shit sucked.
It
Shit was the worst.
Never lives up, does it?
Takes a
It's
couple
always
times.
It's always awkward.
It's fine after that. Those fucking conservative freaks who are just like, I wanna, save it for marriage. It's like, well, I have bad news for you about how the test flight goes, you fucking morons.
I mean, they won't know any better. So maybe they're the enlightened ones.
God, that's fair.
Wait, we were talking about a movie, weren't we?
Yeah, Tim, do you have a day that you'd want to relive over and over to get, like, better at it?
Man.
Or, like, what if it just started tomorrow? What would you do?
Oh my god, yeah, just figuring out how much you could socially climb, how much power you could gain in one day.
Specifically tomorrow would be a real rough one to relive.
Oh, shit!
He's meeting the father of the bride tomorrow.
Just imagine being stuck on election day 2024
over. No!
Yeah, that's what I was going for. I've met Cody's father, for the record. I don't know. The choice of day. I don't know. Maybe I'd relive day one of the other side so that we don't have things fuck up. I don't know. That's a hard one. I need time to think of that one.
Sorry to hit you with that, but I'm sorry. What if we did have to well, here's the thing. Here's a question I have about the Edge of Tomorrow time loop. It only resets when he dies, right? But what if he takes a nap? Is he fine?
I slept till 12:01, and then you see one of those mimics coming real fast towards him.
No! Actually, that kind of brings up a good question I had. At the end of the movie, Tom Cruise gets the super reset to before he woke up on the military base to when he woke up on the helicopter because he absorbed the Alpha's blood, and it's implied he's going to go on and live the rest of his life. I have a question. What happens? He's on his deathbed. He's saying goodbye to all of his children, grandchildren, and grandchildren. He lets out his last breath, closes his eyes, opens them back up. He's on the goddamn helicopter again.
Fuck.
That is the funniest joke I've ever seen coming from a mile away.
What happens then? How fucked? Like, what do you do in that situation when you realize you're forced to relive the rest of your life over and over again? That's why I posit people complain about this movie having a happy ending. No, this movie's ending is fucked.
Well, it's not as fucked. So, have you guys ever heard of the original ending of this movie?
I know. I keep meaning to look it up, but I never did. Tim,
do you know this one?
I don't know. I know the end of the manga's more on the tragic side. I don't know if it's the same thing.
What happens in the manga?
So in the manga, basically the blood thing is not a thing. Like the loops stop when they kill the mimics in a certain way. They have to get to the main frame, and at the end they find out that basically their brains have become satellites for the mimics, and so one of them has to die for the loop to stop.
Aw. So he has to kill Rita?
Yeah, a little bit.
Damn. Okay, so for this movie, believe it or not, Tom Cruise, of all people, was the one who came up with the happy ending, right? So Christopher McQuarrie, the screenwriter and the director of many of the later Mission Impossible movies,
Tom Cruise's gay husband.
He originally had this ending where they're going in on the final mission. Tom Cruise warns them don't kill an Alpha, right? Well, one of the soldiers kills an Alpha during the final siege, and so they progressively get more and more owned while the dropship is charging the loop. Because the mimics are now doing what Tom Cruise was doing, getting better at dunking on our guys, right? So you just see them having this conversation over and over again, and they're getting fucked worse each time. I, for one, am really happy this had a crowd pleaser ending. If you're gonna write in a head bad guy, right? Where all the other bad guys explode if you kill the head bad guy, you are obligated by law to fucking kill that. They added some icing on the cake by resetting the day so that everybody actually lives, which I feel is in line with comedic tone. But an ending where the table turns and everybody, you just watch people get progressively more shit on, that would have been exhausting. That would have sucked.
So wait, the end, it wouldn't have like, they wouldn't have like eventually won. They just would have lost over and over again and the movie would fucking end.
Worse and worse. And yes, it just kind of cut. Like you, the slow realization dawns on you like, oh no, the mimics are resetting the day and getting better at owning our guys. Ooh. Like imagine how much that would have sucked.
That would have legitimately ruined the movie. What the fuck was Christopher McQuarrie thinking? Thank God Tom Cruise intervened.
The original draft of this movie, though, would go on to be adapted by another director for Joker Foley. Okay, so dig this. Like all the movies since Mission Impossible, right? Tom Cruise did his own stunts on this. This one is not exempt. Which must be like a cinematographer's dream if you think about it. Getting to shoot these like stunts in long takes with the actor's face in there, not having to worry about it. My God. But yeah, this was another entry in the long line of Tom Cruise doing his own shit. Believe it or not, though, Tom came really close to dying on this particular set.
Well,
so,
because of Emily Blunt, right?
Yep.
If this is the story I'm thinking of.
Yep, according to an interview with BBC One, when they were filming a scene where Emily Blunt is like dragging the trailer, they're driving off all fast, she crashed the car straight into a tree at top speed. I just want to say, hanging onto a plane that's taken off, motorcycling off a mountaintop, climbing the world's tallest building, none of that killed Tom Cruise. But you know what almost did? John Krasinski's fucking wife. Of all the things.
That would have been so great. That would have been so fucking funny. I believe Emily Blunt also did a majority of her stunts where she could. Except for the reshoots. And this is actually a fun fact. Tom Cruise became the third person in the world to find out Emily Blunt was pregnant. Because she was a couple weeks in. She wasn't showing yet when they did reshoots on the photographer of this thing, and she wasn't doing her own stunts because of that. And Tom Cruise was confused by that. Because he was like, well, you did all your own stunts before. What's going on? So Emily Blunt like pulls him aside and she's like, all right, I've told John this, her husband. I've told a very close friend this. Now I'm telling you this. I'm pregnant.
Wow, that makes my next trivia fact so much more disturbing. So you know the scene where they kiss? That wasn't in the script. The screenwriter and the director, they could not figure out a way to make them kiss where it felt earned or organic. So the scene comes where they're all close to each other at the end. Emily Blunt fucking goes in for the smooch. She ad-libbed that shit, dude. She was just like, I'm gonna kiss Tom Cruise. Let's
that's
go.
why Tom Cruise looks like, huh?
Yeah. I actually rewatched that scene because it's like, oh, he was surprised. He does this awesome shit where he like grabs her like an army guy would. Like if two Spartan dudes were kissing. It's really rad improv. Now that you know it's improv.
I wish I had the chance to know you better.
It's great. And I always interpreted that, like some people complain, like the romance doesn't make sense from her perspective. I never really took it as romantic. I kind of took it as a thank you. It was like a thank you in the form of a kiss.
She was kissing him goodbye.
Yeah, and like you also have to, you know, realize they're both in this loop thing, so she knows that he has seen her for probably years. So there's just this connection.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
Implied
for sure.
Closeness.
Yeah.
And maybe she projected some of her feelings about Hendrix, I forget his name, onto Tom Cruise as well. The guy who was
track.
Her, Emily Blunt, when she was in the loop, had her done.
You know, that reminds me of my favorite trivia fact for this movie that I've known about for years. So when they wrapped on this movie, right? I don't know if you know this, Austin, but when they wrapped on this movie, Tom Cruise threw a very lavish wrap party for the entire cast and crew. Tom Cruise spent over $100,000 of his own dollars on this party for the crew that he did not go to because he was busy finishing his scenes for the movie.
Oh my God.
King shit.
he just FaceTimes. They're all getting wasted, and he's just in a fucking suit getting whacked by the fucking ceiling
He
drone.
FaceTimes and he goes, ah! Ah! It's a fucking mummy scream. Ah! Ah!
Did you guys find the chocolate fountain yet? Yeah, we did, Tom. Pooh, just fucking...
Good!
Dude,
it's so funny.
what is it? They built that beach on a studio backlot. They went to a beach while location scouting, and the producer looked at the beach and they were like, it would be cheaper for us to build the beach with what you want to do. So they had this newly acquired Warner Bros. Studio called Leavesden. They had previously leased it for all the Harry Potter films, right? They filmed the beach scene behind the studio where they did all the Harry Potter movies. And the problem was, it was like mostly a lot of mud, actually. Like they had to CGI in a lot of sand. And the fucking mud turned into slick, like, wartime mud, because a lot of the shit got wet, there was rain. And so this trivia fact makes me feel like I'm 7. The cast and crew eventually started to call the beach the bitch whenever they would refer to going to that set. So that was one of those show things that seems kind of like fun in the moment, is like, oh, we've got another scene on the bitch. Damn, hell, God. Fucking, I feel bad for those people. They're in fucking 120-pound suits getting yoinked around, and it's just mud all around you.
They're in the Full Metal Bitch.
I can't imagine anyone other than Emily Blunt as her. She's so good. I also can't imagine anyone other than Tom Cruise in the lead role. It makes it so crazy that Brad Pitt was apparently one of the original choices. I'ma say it, worst movie if it's him.
Oh, yeah.
He doesn't have, like, that military gruffness, I don't think. This is gonna sound weird, because I think Tom Cruise is a very cool dude, but Brad Pitt's persona might be too cool for this role.
Yeah.
I just keep thinking he comes to the movie with the same tone as his character from 12 Years a Slave. Like, he just keeps going around saying, like, just woke shit to all of the fucking army people. It's just like, did you know college used to be free in America? Back before the Vietnam War protesters. And they're like, who is this guy? We're gonna fight a war!
Fuck, let him in here! I think it's interesting that you guys have compared this movie both to Starship Troopers and Groundhog Day, because the filmmakers themselves consider this a mishmash of Starship Troopers and Groundhog Day.
Oh, hell yeah.
I mean,
cool.
yeah, Groundhog Day is the obvious pull, but yeah, Starship Troopers for sure. Mm-hmm. Tanner, you had talked a bit about the many names of the film. How they
Live, Die, Repeat, Edge of Tomorrow. I'm looking at my 4K Blu-ray right now that says Live, Die, Repeat, Edge of Tomorrow on the side.
Yeah.
Sad.
So like I was talking to Cody about that, and she's like, there is one person on the earth who calls this movie Live, Die, Repeat, and that is my father. And like apparently, like he will just be talking about Live, Die, Repeat, and people will be like, what? And he has to just correct them, Edge of Tomorrow. Like it just makes him so sad.
Wait, you gotta ask Cody's dad what movie Peter Jackson made in the early 90s, the zombie movie. He might be the only guy who calls it Dead Alive. He might be the only one.
Yeah.
It's just funny because apparently the sequel that's rumored to be being made, the in development title is apparently Live, Die, Repeat, comma, Repeat.
Yeah.
No. I don't want to say that at a fucking box office.
Live, Die, Repeat, Repeat.
One ticket for Live, Die, Repeat, Repeat. I'm going home, actually. Never mind.
Two Edge, two Tomorrow.
They could just call it All You Need Is Kill, Edge of Tomorrow, Live, Die, Repeat 2.
Brand new funky mode.
And
one title. Featuring Dante from the Devil May Cry series.
He did it! He completed the combo!
What if Dante from the Devil May Cry series was in this movie?
Good movie.
Wouldn't go down that way, I'll tell you that much.
Built different.
Could Dante from the Devil May Cry series prevent 9/11? Discuss amongst yourselves.
Wouldn't have gone down though.
See?
I'll go into my my manga lightning round shit.
Hit us.
So, I guess yeah. Number one, the mechs are like a lot more like Gundam-esque in the manga, like mini Gundams, basically. Like that, they're neat here, and it's very cool that they're mostly practical. Like that's cool. But yeah, the designs are very different in the manga. Like Rita's weapon is this giant fucking battle axe in the manga, which is cool. Like they go into detail of like how it's not something that can normally be wielded. You have to go through this insane fucking amount of training, and you know, she's Lupin. She can do the training. She's got no problem. There's this moment in the manga where like Keiji has been he's been Lupin for a while, and he just got out of a loop where his sergeant died, and so he's a little somber about it, not even consciously. He has a look that people are describing as like he's at a funeral. And he's in the mess hall, and somebody in the mess hall has a problem with the way he's looking. So that he starts a fight, and he's just fucking Spider-Man dodging his attacks left and right. But then he has to take a punch because he's just like, I would kill this guy with one punch. So he has to take a punch to just end it, and afterwards, like the food server person at the mess hall is like talking to him, and she is how do you say this, a waifu. So she's just like, you could have taken that guy. And he's like, yeah, you know. And she just hits him with, are you available? I'm free tonight. I showed that page to Cody. I'm just like, damn, anime Tom Cruise can pull. Let's go. Yeah, I mentioned the ending. It's a lot more tragic in the source material. It's also interesting. They go to the reveal that Rita is also a looper. Yeah, she's also been in the loop. They reveal that a lot earlier in the movie. That's like a halfway reveal in the manga. It's interesting. It's just interesting little differences.
You said Looper. Yeah, the barn house that they're chilling in where he makes her coffee. It's the barn from Looper. Same Louisiana barn. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
That's awesome.
They looping.
When I started this podcast, I made an allusion to the fact that the presidential election is tomorrow and Donald Trump's on the ballot. That wasn't just because of timeliness. It is also because this movie may have been part of the reason Donald Trump became president in 2016.
Nani?
Let me cook. A big reason people say that Donald Trump was able to win was because of the piss poor campaign Hillary Clinton ran, where she acted like she was destined to have the presidency, that she was always going to be the president. In the beginning of this movie, there is a montage of various world leaders and public officials responding to the alien invasion and how they're going to deal with it. This movie takes place in 2020. One of the public officials they show is none other than Hillary Clinton, implying that she was president of the United States when this happened. I posit that Edge of Tomorrow, Hillary Clinton thought it was a documentary from the future, and she thought she was destined to be president, and that's why she ran a piss poor campaign.
And
Haven't you seen the movie?
This movie and Pacific Rim both doing the 2020 shit. God.
Maybe we should have saw it coming, huh?
Yeah.
Well, wait. I thought they didn't have a date on when this movie took place.
According to IMDb, it takes place in 2020.
Got it. You know, one thing I thought was funny was, so Tom Cruise is a producer on this, and you know that scene where they're all jogging, PT, physical training?
Yeah.
So the reset for that, they had to, like, walk a pretty decent, like, distance back to their ones, and Tom Cruise, as a producer, pulling some producer shit, was like, I need to speed these people up. So the way he got them to was he would just start bolting back to one, and he'd look back at him and go, I'm 50, see if you can catch up. and it worked. They all were just like, "Fuck you, old man!" And they all rushed back to 1.
How can you not fucking love Tom Cruise? God damn.
He's honestly great.
I love in that first attempt to roll out, he rolls under the moving Jeep and you just hear,
What the hell were you thinking, boy?
head got squimshed.
Would this movie have been better if it was rated R?
I don't think it would have made a difference.
It's one of those PG-13s where you almost forget. Like The Dark Knight. You're just like,
There's a very brutal, like, the first time Tom Cruise dies and his, like, face burns and decays is very disturbing.
The source material is considerably more violent, I will say. Like, I think it's on his, like, 3rd loop. He runs into this old man and a little girl, and they just fucking get decapitated by a mimic. It's nuts.
Right.
And there's a lot of just, like, people getting stabbed in the face. Very violent. A lot of killing.
You know what? I'm gonna say it. I'm ready to ruin this movie for Austin.
What you talking about?
I'm ready to ruin this movie for Austin. So, Emily Blunt did some training for this movie.
It was the IDF. He trained with Mossad.
Oh, no.
Well, yeah, she learned Krav Maga, which is apparently a specific Israeli self-defense system.
Okay, Krav Maga was like the hot shit ever since the Nolan Batman movies. I think that might have been the inception point where everyone was like, "Oh, Batman fights with Krav Maga, that's what we gotta do." I mean, that said, a lot of Israeli military dudes teach Krav Maga.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Whatever, you know. She has a helicopter blade as a sword. Tim, one thing I read was the light novel manga explains why she uses a sword is because she kept running out of ammo during the loops.
Yeah.
So
Because guns can fail.
Yeah, she's just like, I need something that can kill all of them.
It's like playing Left 4 Dead.
Yeah. I mean, that's my strategy in any video game. If it's a shooter and there's a sword, my fucking Halo ass is going for that sword. And then Shadow the Hedgehog is like, no, you get 5 ammo for your katana, because then it breaks.
Yeah, I do like the, nobody will admit it, but I swear to God, Final Fantasy VII had to have been an influence. Because it reminds you of the Buster Sword. Oh, really? Did someone explicitly say that?
No, I just always thought that when I saw the shape of the sword. Somebody had to think
it reminds you of the Buster Sword.
I didn't necessarily make that connection here, but I can definitely see it. The Buster Sword I definitely saw in a completely different movie called Blue Beetle.
Good pick.
Blue Beetle mentioned!
How long do you think Tom Cruise was in the loop?
A year.
Long ass time. In the manga, it was like 160 loops, so probably a little over a year.
We explicitly see 25 in the movie, 26 if you count the Omega loop at the end.
Mm-hmm.
But it's implied that it happened dozens, if not hundreds of more times.
Yeah, there's a scene you can see on the Blu-ray if you watch the special features. He did a line read where he's like, "It took me 50 loops to get here," and he just sounds exasperated. You know, it seems like they omitted shit like that for the final film. Oh, another thing you can see on the Blu-ray is all of Bill Paxton's line reads sound like they lack that magic enthusiasm, but also he calls J Squad F Squad, you know, because failing grade, F, bad letter. Yeah. But I like how they got demoted 4 whole letters for the final film. There are so many scenes, like behind the scenes, where he's calling him F Squad, and I like how that wasn't enough. These aren't even the F Squad. This is the J Squad.
But they are an elite combat unit, except for that one guy that Tom Cruise didn't really get to know that well, because he actually dies on the dropship in every loop. And he also dies on the dropship when they go to confront the Omega.
At least he's respectful to John Krasinski's wife. Calls her the Angel of Verdun.
Yeah, unfortunately, he was 2 days away from retirement. What can you do?
Wait, what can you do?
It was destined.
It's a great movie. But there is a sequel in development, right? And I think that opens a question. What would a sequel be? Do the aliens come back? They get stuck in the loop again? How do you make a sequel to this without it feeling cheap? Unless it's a super serious drama about him dying at the end of his life and then having to relive it.
Okay, I got it. Two people are caught in the loop simultaneously, and if one of them dies, they both get reset back. That seems like the easiest place to start. Because I feel like a lot of video games have done this. It's like an escort mission, sort of. Like, you're both progressing to be badasses, but you both have to succeed for it to win. Not like an emotional thing like with Emily Blunt, but like the mission can't carry on if your partner dies, and it's two people who hate each other. So they have to learn to...
I like it. I love the idea. Slight problem with it. The development on the sequel indicate that Tom Cruise and Emily Blunt will return. So,
okay.
Do
so
we create a dynamic where Emily Blunt's character hates Tom Cruise because
they got married, had a kid, got divorced, you know?
Maybe something like that. Maybe. Here's the thing. I would love a sequel because, again, I think this is the best action movie of the 2010s. At the very least, it's the best sci-fi action movie of the 2010s. I don't know where you go from here if it's the same characters.
Yeah, it's pretty close-ended.
Yeah. And that's one of the reasons it feels like a great movie, is it feels like the whole story was told on the biggest scale it could be. They literally saved the planet, you know, and reset everything. Like, it's that by abiding these screenwriting mechanics, they always tell you to, like, ratchet up the tension to 11. They murdered any chance of a sequel being good. It would feel like Independence Day Resurgence, more so than, like, you know, The Dark Knight.
The specific pitch I just came up with in my head was basically the pitch from the end of Independence Day Resurgence, when they're like, wow, you guys beat these guys twice. We're going to recruit you for the galaxy-wide war. And I was sitting there thinking, well, they talk about how the Mimics have done this to several planets.
So here's the sequel, is they meet with somebody who gives them a card for the G.I. Joe initiative.
Anthony Ramos turns the card over. G.I. Joe. Obviously 80-yard line. I can't believe Rise of the Beast ended that way. That was fucking insane. I was losing my mind in the theater. I was on cloud fucking 9. I was like, because the entire time they set that scene up like it's gonna be Sector 7 from the Michael Bay movies. Then he turns the card over and it fucking says G.I. Joe, and I out loud in the theater. It was at the Alamo, but I don't think anyone minded because they agreed with me. I out loud in the theater went, what?
That's just the correct response.
I'll never get over. Is that movie ever gonna happen? I don't know.
I don't know about that one, Chief.
They gotta get that Hasbro Cinematic Universe going. Get that toy money.
Wasn't there also a TV show in development of this? I was perusing the Wikipedia article.
Really?
Yeah, let me go back.
Looking at the Wikipedia.
Because that to me feels as obscene as a sequel could feel. Like, more so, is doing a TV show out of this.
Tom Cruise doesn't do TV. Oh, shit. In February 2022, it was revealed by Village Roadshow Pictures and Warner Brothers Pictures have been developing a television series spinoff with intentions to release the show exclusively on HBO Max.
There we go. But what if the show is about the Mimics growing up as a kid from the East Side with a bum leg? One of the Mimics aspires to be an alpha. Yes.
At the beginning of the movie, the Mimic goes, as far back as
I can remember, Jesus!
I always wanted to be an alpha.
Oh, Jesus, kid, why you showing me this?
Jesus, kid! Come on! What are you showing me this for? Come on! So it's the Penguin.
Yeah. It's the Penguin. It's about a Mimic rising his way through the ranks, killing alphas until he becomes one.
The plot of Edge of Tomorrow, except replace Tom Cruise's character with Colin Farrell's Penguin.
Fuck.
You know what? Dare I say, problem gets fixed even faster.
Yeah.
By like loop number 5, Oz would have figured out a way to kill the Omega, guaranteed.
Yeah.
By loop number 5.
He like poisons the water that it hangs out in, forces it to come over the surface, and then just has a bunch of drones fly into it until it dies.
He's like, yeah.
It's all coming together.
Yeah. I haven't seen the newest episode of The Penguin.
It's good.
Episode 7 I haven't seen yet. I know
It's
about
good.
something that happens in it, I think, unfortunately, but I'm not going to say that on the podcast.
Yeah. We'll get to that later.
Yeah.
Did
Well-
you know? I can't believe a lot of these lines were ad-libbed. Like, I can't believe they went into this without a shooting script, because every line of dialogue to me, every time I've watched this before, like, the bonus features, I was like, this is a really great screenplay. Like, as far as, like, just fucking around and, like, doing it as you go, did you know they edited this movie as they shot it? Like, that was one of the ways they pulled the movie together, was they would shoot it, I guess maybe they'd like, record the video tap and edit, like, a rough assembly. That's kind of how this thing came together. But none of it feels that way. There's not a single line in this where I'm like, that was just a really good idea an actor had. But that happened a lot. This movie's like a little miracle. It's fucking crazy.
They had no script, man.
Especially
Okay.
crazy considering how loose of an adaptation it is of its source material. Like, you didn't even have the fucking book to go off of.
Right.
Yeah, because they're doing something crazy different. That's interesting. Wow. Cool.
What a picture.
A lot of killing.
A lot of killing. A lot of coming back.
All right. Well, let's move on to our final thoughts, gentlemen. Doom.
Yeah, I'm glad I revisited this one. It was a fun time. I'm also glad I checked out the manga. I definitely recommend it if you enjoyed the movie, or if you haven't seen the movie and you just want a good action mech manga romp. It's definitely one I'd recommend. It's a fun time. Movie, again, fun time. Unfortunately, by the time this comes out, it won't be on Netflix anymore, but you can pick up the Blu-ray. I'm sure it'll be streaming fucking somewhere, because the streaming platforms, it kind of means nothing at this point. It'll be up somewhere. Check it out wherever the hell it is. Back to you, Tanner.
If you want to watch it, guys, you can borrow my 4K Blu-ray. Just send me a letter at... Austin, final thoughts.
Edge of Tomorrow sits in the same Hall of Fame with the likes of Fight Club, Scott Pilgrim, Children of Men, The Iron Giant, as one of those movies that delivered on every level, but just struck out at the box office. This is the Vincent Van Gogh of action blockbusters. If you haven't seen it yet, grab a big bowl of popcorn and make a whole night out of it. You're not gonna regret it. You're gonna fucking love this movie. It's great. Back to you, Tanner.
Thank you very much. Well, what can I say that these guys haven't already said? Edge of Tomorrow is it's a perfect movie in my eyes. It is the best action movie of the 2010s. It's a great time. You won't regret watching it if you haven't. Haven't it? I can't talk.
Jesus, kid.
Couple of hamburgers. I cannot talk. Listen, I'm not a big fan of the 2005 movie, The Pink Panther. But you know who is a big fan of the 2005 movie, The Pink Panther?
Ethan Hawke.
Really?
No, probably not.
You! The person watching / listening to this episode of Bomb Squad Matinee. Thank you oh so very much for tuning in. If you're listening on any of the audio platforms on, we really appreciate it. Leave us a review. It boosts us in the algorithm or something like that. I don't know. I just work here. If you are listening on any of the audio platforms we're on, how about you mosey on over to our Patreon, where for the $5 tier, you get access to commentary tracks. And for the $10 tier, you get a little shout out at the end of the show. So, Mr. Jason Secord, you've been a long-time supporter. We really appreciate you. And Tanya Kraft, my mom. Thank you so much for your contributions to the Patreon. If you're watching this episode on YouTube, thank you again oh so very much for watching. We really appreciate it. How about you mosey on down to the comment section below and let us know, what do you think of Edge of Tomorrow? What's your favorite action movie of the 2010s? What's your favorite Tom Cruise movie? And finally, what would the Edge of Tomorrow sequel look like? Comment below and let me know. While you're down there, hit the like button so we know how much you like us. Hit the subscribe button so we know how much you love us. and hit the bell icon so you can know exactly when we upload new videos. Thank you all so very much for watching, guys. We'll see you next time. Except I will see you guys again, as this is my 17th loop recording this podcast. And it'll loop again in 3, 2, 1.
Just slid my ticket across the table and I said, sorry guys, I gotta see about a girl.